Repeat, what is cheaper is not necessarily better. Another group of people who demonstrated this concept very well is a group of Indonesian field workers in their own documentary of their reality, the globalization tapes. In the globalization tapes, Indonesian workers presented fellow Indonesians with 2 soaps made of palm oil, the product they cultivate for Western corporations. One that was 5 cents less than the other, but the one that was cheaper used pesticide that killed thousands of workers. Now, one Indonesian woman actually said, "Oh no, I won't buy that then. I'll pay the 5 cents more." But another younger man said he wouldn't. Shocked, the field worker asked him, "Is my life not even worth 5 cents to you?" He responded, "Well, times and values have changed, and so will I." The moral of the story being, even while neoliberalism might be devoid of values, it doesn't mean we have to be. Like my dad always say, don't go with the flow, Preshona. In other words, don't fall for what's around you. Stand for something. Point 2. Doesn't globalization help the little guy? Now, I got this from an article from the BBC by an economist by the name of Kaushik Basu, who went into an artisan village in Gujarat, India, where they were actually coming off from globalization, getting more customers than just the villagers and passing tourists, because now they gone global. So in this case, it did help the little guy. Until the big guy came in. And he did, and he will. With his mass production and broader base, inevitably putting the little guys out of business. It was already starting to happen in Gujarat and becoming a growing fear among the villagers. So, what started off as a good thing, sometimes and oftentimes, according to Basu, leaves the little guy even worse off. Solution? We can make the conscious choice to support the little guy. So, peoples, you win. Brainstorm time. Go. Point 3. But globalization creates jobs for the poorest. That's good, right? Now, for this question, I refer to a well-made documentary on Chinese workers' rights called Santa's Workshop, available to the public on freedocumentaries.org. In Santa's Workshop, they tracked a lot of the factory workers in their case study coming from the rural countryside, where, yes, there was a scarcity of jobs. But what they exposed within these factories was an exploitation of that very fact. Indecent minimum wages, a history of regulated silencing, and a culture of secrecy, with the facade of a union, roach-like hostels. So to answer your question, let's just get 2 things clear first off. 1, outsourcing was not thought of to help less fortunate people across the globe. It was designed to increase corporate profit. Humanity is not number 1 on their list. And 2, this is not ideological discourse. What happened, happened, right or wrong. And by the way, as far as our country's working class go, and our distributed economic development, it was wrong to them and us, yes. And yes, poverty existed before our corporations got there. And yes, people need jobs, but they do not need to be exploited. And make no mistake, workers' exploitation is the very reason they're there, which means we need to be on them, aka, e.g., support fair trade products, among other things. Like Mom says, never make the rich richer, uplift the poor, even a balance. Point 4. We are not, I repeat, we are not the saviors. That's just a typical American Westerner mindset. Let me ask you this. Were the American Caribbean slave owners the saviors because they took the so-called Asian and African savages from their jungles and put them to work, gave them a place to stay and offered a civilization? No? Okay, then let's keep it 100. Besides the fact that we laid off our own workers to further exploit people whose country's leaders purposely keep standards low to get broken off by corporations, we're also not paying living wages, meaning the people can't live off their incomes. We're just throwing scraps. For instance, like in China, like as they showed in Santa's workshop, the workers can't even afford to live anywhere else but those roach-like hostels offered by the corporations. Imagine that. 20 to 30 people squeezed into one room, sharing a locker, no living space, and that's the only place they can afford if they want to make just a little bit of loose change for their families. We're not the saviors.